So although I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber, one of my most anticipated games is, of course, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Well, today is a huge day for fans of Tears of the Kingdom because the first official previews have gone out. There was a preview event that took place. One took place in New York City, one took place over in the European region of the world, and people were able to play The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom during a preview event. Now, because of this, we have lots of different previews from different outsources and stuff like that. We even have brand new gameplay footage to look at. So I want to go over these previews and talk about them because there kind of seems to be a couple reoccurring themes that I've seen within all of these previews. And I don't know how people are going to react to that. I do think that some people are going to be overreactionary to this and be like, you're clickbait, blah, 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 greatest game of all time. But let's just dive right into this without any further ado. All right, so here is the Washington Post with the homie Gene Park doing an analysis of this game, talking about what he experienced within it. The demonstration gave us access to the Ultra Hand feature, which allows Hero Link to build machines out of parts found throughout the land of Hyrule. Ultra Hand is named after the 1966 toy that operated with spring-loaded tongs, a relic of Nintendo's history as a toy manufacturer. So that's actually kind of cool. Basically, how it goes is, you solve puzzles in a different way. Everyone is going to solve puzzles and get access to things in a different way than somebody else is going to. And that'll actually play into one of the upcoming previews that we're going to take a look at as well, as far as sort of naming things like that. During my Tears session, I unlocked the entrance to a sky dungeon by timing my 50,000 feet in the air jumps while moving floating platforms around with the Ultra Hand. Nintendo representatives overseeing my play said they had not seen anyone else solve the puzzle the way I did. I peered over at my neighbors who use fans, airplanes, and floating platforms to get to their destination. So basically, like I said, it's a game where you're going to solve things on your own. You're going to figure out things on your own, and your playthrough is probably not going to be similar to somebody else's playthrough as far as, completing puzzles and stuff like that. And I actually think that's very exciting. I think that's very unique to this game, because imagine like watching an FAQ or a walkthrough for this game and somebody's playing it in a completely different manner than you're playing it in, and it's kind of like, wow, that's eye-opening. And we haven't really seen that too much in video games up till this point. There have been some games that allow you to do stuff like that, games like Elden Ring, games like even the original Breath of the Wild, but I feel like this is taking it potentially to a whole nother level. There were two more headlining features called Recall and Fuse. Recall allows players to essentially rewind time for a specific object. Enemies decided to roll a spiked iron ball down a ramp to prevent me from entering a fortress, so I hit Recall and sent the ball back in time up the ramp and over my attackers. Fuse allows players to stick a random object to one of their tools, such as a rocket, onto a shield to create makeshift rocket pack. It is a way to increase weapon damage, attack damage, and durability. So once again, very, very cool stuff here. There was some little bits of negativity though that is actually a reoccurring theme. With all of these features, Link is also considerably more difficult to control. The game demands dexterity, as the player uses every shoulder button alongside of the directional pad, and every button has multiple uses depending on what mode Link is in, whether it's Fuse or Ultra Hand. I kept forgetting the recall feature existed. Rotating objects grabbed by the Ultra Hand can get confusing, especially if you're just in the Fuse mode. Even 70 minutes was not enough of warm-up time for all the buttons to feel natural. It's probably going to take a few hours before the tasks feel like second nature. And honestly, people are going to get pissed off by that, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing to say, because I have recently gone back to Breath of the Wild during, this time period of waiting for Tears of the Kingdom. And I don't remember how that game controls at all. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing in there. And it's like, it feels a little bit unlike second nature. Once it clicks for you, it's absolutely fantastic. But after playing so many games between now and the last time I played Breath of the Wild, playing Breath of the Wild now, it's not the most fluid experience. So I do feel like there is going to be a bit of a learning curve with the control scheme for this game. And that, like I said, is a bit of a reoccurring theme that we see throughout these previews. All right, so next over at Axios Gaming, we're going to take a look at what Steven Toledo had to say, or Totilo. I'm sorry, Steven, I'm saying your name wrong, because I feel like there's some buzzwords here that are going to potentially make some Nintendo fans mad. But once again, when we're going back to what we just talked about, you can't really necessarily get mad at this. So the short edition of this is basically he went to New York City to play the game. Driving the news. Tears of the Kingdom, announced in 2019, is the sprawling sequel to the 2017 hit The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The highly anticipated game has been shown in trailers ahead of its May 12th release, but Wednesday is the first day Nintendo is letting people outside of the company talk about how it plays. The short version. It's fun, if complicated, offering the expected sword and shield adventure mixed with a surprisingly deep system for crafting vehicles and gadgets. It appears to be a Zelda for creative thinkers, a game suited to the generation of users as creators who build in Minecraft or Fortnite, make videos in TikTok, or craft levels in DIY games like Nintendo's own Mario Maker. And I feel like people are going to get super pissed at hearing the games Fortnite and Mario Maker and TikTok and Minecraft in the same vein as Tears of the Kingdom, but I don't think they're saying that in a bad way. I think they're saying it in a way that it's a very creative game, and in order to do things in those certain games and do things on places like TikTok, you have to be a somewhat creative individual. So I don't feel like it's a slight against the game like so many people are going to take it, but it is worth mentioning that, this is a bit of a different style of game. It's a game where you're going to have to use your brain and figure out things on your own accord, and I think that's a good thing for this because it's keeping things fresh throughout. Now, one thing that Steven did mention was the fact that the game does have he also felt that there was some issues with the controls as far as adapting to them, which I don't think is a huge deal. Like I said, it is just something that naturally occurs within these games, but it is worth mentioning. Link can use the mysterious Zonai devices to attach rockets, fans, and more objects in the world. In one challenge, we faced on an island in the sky. We needed to transport a small Korok character across the gap. Our solution: attach a Zonai fan to a minecart, put it on rails, drop the Korok into the cart, and turn the fan on. So like looking at the screenshots and stuff, like you're gonna be doing some crazy crap in this game, and I think that's super cool. And yes, like we said here, the controls may be a bit of an issue as far as, adapting to them, but I don't think that's a bad thing. But like I promised at the start of this video, we actually have new gameplay footage as well. Skill Up did a video on this. I'll have a link to their video in the description box down below. Make sure you guys go check it out. But I did timestamp a certain area that I wanted to watch with you guys because it does kind of relay into something that I think will actually be a bit of a problem for this game. And that might just be for me personally, but it is worth talking about because we've been very positive about all this. I've even been able to look past the whole control issues, but this thing, it's a little bit worrying. Here's Skill Up's video of him playing Tears of the Kingdom. Must be nice to get invited to Nintendo events because I sure as hell haven't gotten invited to any events. And this is focusing on frame rate because you can see here there is some jank within the frame rate when things are getting a bit busy. Now, of course, that was prevalent in Breath of the Wild as well. Like that wasn't the end of the world, but you would kind of hope that they would maybe be able to iron things out because I feel like the jank in the gameplay and the slowdown and the frame rate issues, they could potentially affect how you play the game and how you sort of go through the land of Hyrule and how you solve puzzles and stuff like that, and your combat, because your combat is actually, obviously very important within this game. It's not like something that you can just sort of overlook. So that is a bit worrying to me. The effects, I don't really mind that, but when there's just a bunch of characters on screen, it does seem like there is a dip in the combat, and how that will impact the gameplay throughout the adventure, considering this is a very curated demo done by Nintendo themselves, that can be a little bit concerning. But overall, I'm very happy with everything that we've seen with this. I'm very happy with everything that is being said for the most part. Obviously, the clunky controls, a little bit concerning, but I feel like that's going to vary from person to person, The frame rate issues, I think we all expected those. Hopefully, in the full version of the game, they're not as prevalent. The fact that they're in a curated demo for this game that Nintendo chose themselves and they're already showing their ugly head, that is kind of a bit concerning. But I think just the scope of the game, the crafting of the game, and how it is unique to how you figure things out and how you do things. I think that's the driving focus of this game. You know, when you look at the abilities, that's kind of always been the focal point of this game, is how you as a player are able to figure things out, how you as a player are able to traverse through the land of Hyrule. And it seems like this ongoing motif is probably the most important thing about the game, and I'm all for that. I am all for thinking outside of the box. I'm all for the creativity aspect of this, and I think the game's going to be freaking awesome, man. It'll be interesting to see these review scores when they start coming in, but all I know is we're very close to this game finally coming out, and it's like, you know, it's about damn time. I've been waiting for this. We've all been waiting for this for a while, and now it seems like most of our fears are fine with this. The world itself is interesting. There's cool stuff to do. There's a million different ways to skin the cat. Yeah, there's going to be performance issues, but I mean, it's a Nintendo Switch game. At this point in time, if we're still harking too much on performance issues on Switch games, like, you know, where's that Switch Pro? Where's that Switch 2? Make it so I can play this game at 60 frames per second. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments section down below what you think of the previews. What are some of the previews that you picked up on? Like I said, there were several previews out there. I'm not going to cover them all because this video would be stupid long, and by the time I released it, nobody would care about what I was talking about anyways. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell notification as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.